Hello everyone, my name is Sam. I'm founding director at Middleware. Middleware is a observability platform. And welcome to the Observability Unplugged podcast, wherein I invite various tech leaders across industries and they talk about observability and talk about how they are adopting AI in the place in today's market, as well as how they are adopting in their own companies. In today's podcast, I'll talk to Mr. Ashish Agarwal. He's head of DevOps and architecture at BCH Technologies, and he has been helping companies since almost a decade, working with this company since like 8 or 9 years. And he joined as a head of, as a technical lead for the DevOps, and now he's transforming his journey. He's helping more than like 100 different people across industries. So, welcome to the podcast, Mr. I'd love to more. I definitely whatever it's available in the in the secondary research, but I really want to know from you that uh, tell me more about you and how you have been here and what's your journey so far.
Thanks, Sam. So I have done bachelor in engineering in electronics in Western University earlier. From there, I think I have got moved in. I liked computer, even if I was in electronics and electronics, know the hardware part of the computing industry. And but I have been very interested in the computer and programming and everything. That has always been in my kind of interest. So that's the reason I have moved into IT industry from the start of my career, and I have joined Capgemini earlier as a software engineering, and from like I have been like started my career as a .NET developer uh,
Okay.
initially, and then I kind of with .NET developer and doing a full stack development, you can say in next 5 years, and then I think during the phase, 2000 around that time, I think the DevOps and open source has started with the internet revolution, when the Geo and when 4G has came, then only the internet was accessible. And I think that slowly that also the culture of open source has came up and all the DevOps technologies and all cloud native systems were started making presence in that. And at that time also I got an opportunity to kind of try something with the cloud and something, and where my interest started on cloud. And when I transitioned myself into like a completely cloud DevOps, and then I got into a complete end-to-end structure where I have done software engineering, I am doing cloud, and I know like full stack engineering kind of thing. And then yeah, so that's where my journey started as a transition to DevOps engineer. And then I have been doing that till now. And I think I am just going with the technology, how it is advancing and how the technology is changing. And I have been kind of implementing that, looking into it, uh, go to conferences, check what's new, and we try to implement. And with clients, of my I kind of look what can be the best help we can provide with the technology, because knowing the technology is one thing, and helping the client with technology with the specific use case is another thing. So
Mhm.
that like a hobby and Jill which help me to learn technology and implement it, and I have been doing so. And yeah, so currently I have been what I have done is like I have transformed um, like there are many companies who are still on premises and they do many old way of working as well, and many have a legacy systems, and
Mhm.
then have problems with their software, and then the softwares, and then deploying their software, and then running their software. So one of the thing which I do is the transformation for the companies. So kind of I help them with the transformation with a into a cloud native system with all stack of cloud native, like how they can migrate to cloud, then how can they kind of diversify into like a microservice architecture
Mhm.
or cloud native architecture or serverless architecture, then how they can speed up their development and how they can kind of observe their product, and how can they be proactive and be more give value to their customer as first. So I have
Got
been
it.
doing that activity for quite, and I think like last 12 years, I guess, in my experience, I am doing that, and I'm trying to do my best.
That's really great. Great. Good to know. Like as you mentioned that you helping customers to migrate from on-premise to cloud. But like today, if you look at big enterprises, they are yes, the second, every second customer that we spoke, they always have on-premise environment, and they really wanted to have it because of the cost. Because the cloud is, of course, because of the data, right? So then now, like, it's millions and petabyte of data is there, right? So sending data outside, and again, like, fetching data is every single data, and transferring data will cost you, right? So what do you think? Like, is that cloud is the big thing? Or maybe something that no, on-premise will also be part of it. It will be there even new future, because this company always, when we talk, then say like, no, like we really wanted to use cloud, but that would be limited. Like, so the almost, like you can say, the 70% workload on the on-premise, and only 30%, or maybe sometime even less than that, will be on cloud. That's only very, very important. Critical is like, maybe a client facing things, or maybe something that is really needed, that will be on, because most of their workload is on premise. So what do you think about it? Is something that people will really care about cloud, or it's something that no, like it is not going to replace completely, but the hybrid environment will be there in the future?
Yeah. So this is very unique cases and very subjective on terms of requirement and terms of mindset and term of the data we have.
Hmm.
So I have dealt with all the type of customers where like some doesn't want to go to cloud because of the thing you have told and somebody want to go. But there is also like we have to check what can go to cloud and what cannot go to cloud. And we
Hmm.
have cloud is not solution for everything. Like we cannot say
Got
that
it.
one cloud is solution to everything, just move to cloud because that is kind of a monopoly on some vendor. You give it to them and they get the pricing and you use the host. It's maybe here on some part. But on some part, it may be higher the cost in cloud than maintaining it in on premises. Now, suppose take an example of like, so I have a like a banking data or customer data, banking system project. The I have a huge customer data of the suppose country like India, you have a huge customer data, huge database which need to be secured, cannot be leaked, and have to have all regulatory compliance and everything, and which system
Correct.
have already done in on-premise software. That kind of thing, the company will never try to bring it to cloud because that there's a security factor. There's a like a security on the data as well as country security factor as well comes into picture. The financial security factors comes into picture, and nobody want to. And there's a lot of investment they have already done to protect that kind of thing. Some of the application on that, like so, that data cannot be moved to cloud. But and some application which coordinate with data, like that cannot means they will not want to it. But there are
Hmm.
other secondary applications which is not that data centric to the like a PII data and all this data, and that
Hmm.
is very small applications which can be a customer focused applications or like any secondary application that can be moved to cloud. So if a company that banking company or a bank will not want to move to cloud, but they have some set of things that can move to cloud, which is non yeah. So it depends on them, like what they want to move and what they don't want to move to the cloud based on the
Got it.
this aspects. Now, if cloud has been always good, then Azure, if you have to have no has introduced Azure Arc, which kind of you can bring your own on premises as a part of Azure and work in Azure way. Because they have also realized that you cannot kind of eradicate the on-premise. Like foreign company like Uber comes into India, but then they have to adapt to like the regional uh, reality. So that realities you cannot avoid. And I
Got
think
it.
you have to kind of take care of all the factors in this. So even if the customer who don't want to move, you can kind of convince them on uh, non-critical application can be moved. That can lower that cost. And if there is a critical, that's you have no choice but to keep it there and you optimize. Now,
Got
coming
it.
to factor, the cost factor is the big where many people say on-premises is cheaper than cloud on some cases. And recently, I think I have been reading some blog recently that some
Hmm.
company have done a reverse migration from cloud to on-premises because of the
Yeah,
cost.
AWS itself done. Okay, so like
Yeah,
that's I have very, very good case study, like, because I was talking to a lot of, because this is something that I was part of Cube, and I was part of
yeah.
various different tech leadership, right? So every single enterprise customer I talk, like they are on the on like so I just curious about it. Hey, like, where people are moving, where the future is moving, and people are still using it. But then the complexity is there, as you mentioned, and that depend on the task, right? So if it is not that critical, I think for any businesses like or the raw data is always high, right? So there is no point to put those data on the cloud because it's unnecessary usage, right? And because of that, like so, the criticality is very important. Like if you really wanted to put into cloud, that means you have to put which is really important for the customer side, right? But it is something for the internal or just for the some different purpose, then I think we should not put it, right? Got it. I think completely got it. Uh, so, so Ashish, like, I think the DevOps journey is not less than the roller coaster journey, right? Because you always need to work a lot, and it's not a lot. That means I'm talking about like 12 hours, 30 or 40 hours, but it's something that you need to be active, right? So I don't know, nobody's know that when server will go down, right? So uh, what you doing to be active and to make sure that your the server and your application should always be up, and what are the activities, what are the practices that you implemented which
Mhm.
help you to remove the or prevent the outage.
Yeah. So you see, server thing is different than DevOps. Like DevOps is a practices that encapsulate many things in itself because DevOps is never is not a technology. And DevOps is like not knowing tools or something. People today have, I think, many companies as well, and many people know that they will learn Kubernetes, they will learn Docker, and they know Jenkins. They are DevOps. But no, DevOps. No one can be a DevOps engineer actually. A DevOps is a culture, a team who practices DevOps culture can be a DevOps team, and people who implement that can be a DevOps enabler.
Mm-hmm.
The idea is DevOps to make that everything, bring all the best practice of software development together and kind of roll out that in a way that we have very good sleep actually. I calculate if you have a good DevOps, you have a good sleep. If you have not implemented good DevOps, then you are having 20 hours of work. If you are having a good sleep, you have implemented a good DevOps strategy. If you are not having a good sleep, you are in not implemented a best good DevOps strategy. So that's where I will come to how we do the transformation. What happens?
You can share some of the embracing moment that you had, because that is something very interesting. I really love to know because I'm sure, like in eight year of your career, there would be ups and downs, right? And there would be a certain time where something is not working, or maybe like at the midnight, like something is not working. Some of interesting moment or embracing moment that you had in your life.
I have many. I had like not something for a night. I have something not working for like 3 days, and that is production
Oh
customer
my
feedback.
God. Yeah, one-sided you are saying that, okay,
Means that is
if
initial.
we are not implemented correctly, that means we are not the right
And,
DevOps. And the other side is like, okay, we had these practices. Oh, but I really love to
that's
hear
the
about
journey.
it.
That's the journey
Yeah,
I'm
that's
saying.
journey. Yeah, yeah.
That's where it was, and today I do not care. Even I don't
I
go to release squad,
understood.
and team goes and
Hmm.
team just do it, and there is no even downtime now, zero. So that journey is what you have to do as a DevOps practice. So I think yeah. So what happens that people like traditional software development people kind of they are developers who do the code
Hmm.
and there have been ops people who do the deployment and put it. The
Hmm.
developer, I think, traditionally doesn't know how production system is operating. They do their code, make a zip file, and send it to the ops people. Ops people doesn't know what is the feature, what is the requirement. They developer and just put it in there. It is not working. Or check the everything is working at my end. It's your and that
Hmm.
file is what has today as well. It's there that time. And then DevOps came into picture where you kind of get the people together or either multi-skill a person only or a team as who can operate from requirement to production by themselves a specific operation or kind of get multi-skill people like operational dev and other two together for a small same product like they have mind and they kind of collaboratively work. So what we do is we check so what like bringing the team closer is very important thing because if you have a silos that become a there that kinds of create a chaos and then conflicts like people will say this is my work and this is your work. So the work is everybody's work until it is running in production. It's not the ops people work or this if the production is running fine till production is running fine. It's from day one everybody's work in the company. So everybody have to take responsibility.
Hmm.
So, so when you do the transformation, so that is the one of the mindset which I think is very difficult to build. And I think you are also in a software company. You have known that people like
Yeah,
fire
yeah,
the
yeah,
candidate.
yeah.
It's a thing that's a mindset where you
It's like taking ownership, but like, many times it happened that, see, like, that's, I also believe many times that whether it is working, API is not working, or maybe, the internal function is not working, right? At the end of the day, like, it's a responsibility of team, like, you just need to make sure that everything should be up, right?
Mm,
And as a company, like what we want is everything should be run. It's not that, hey, by you, it's your job, it's their job, but it's very difficult. So sometimes you have to have maybe someone who actually take ownership of
mm,
specific things, right? So maybe like some person who will be owner of DevOps, and he will take care of many of whatever tasks, whatever things that related to DevOps. At the same time, the person who is working on the API side, which making sure that the API should not broke, and all connections should work perfectly fine. And then even let's say in the API, I think that many things happen, like there is if some update happening in the customer end, right? So let's say you are using payment gateway file, but in the payment gateway, like if payment gateway upgraded their system and you haven't upgraded yourself, then definitely there would be a break, right? So it's their job to make sure that they have to keep up to date all the
yeah.
information and take a proper ownership of that. That's something that I believe.
Yeah, that's what it is. And that's that mindset. So first thing when we do kind of change, like tell that people it's everybody's jobs. If it's not their job or this job, and it's everybody's jobs. Secondly,
Correct.
I think we have to like if you need to improve, you have to first realize that you are doing mistakes. So
Mhm.
suppose I am taking an example. I will not name the client, but there is an example of a
We
company.
should.
So there was a project where I think the deployment used to take 8-9 hours.
Mhm.
People are on the call 8-9 hours, and they are like deploying things, and then there are some people testing. Then they are testing, and then they are rolling back again because of something is not working, and that thing is
That's
not
the
working.
that's the routine practice for any developers.
That on that time only, and then they are pushing it again at the same. I think that's what have been happening, and I think we are like at a pressure, like the everybody is frustrated. The customers are frustrated, the clients are frustrated, and then they are financial revenue loss. I think that we decided they have something to change, right? We have like 8 hours of deployment time, and then that is also not a successful deployment. You have to again after 2 days of you have to put again a hot fix because you had some bugs, so
Mhm.
you find out later. So that kind of
Mhm.
thing. So what we did is like we have to improve. So we thought that how can we improve things? And we
Mhm.
thought to find out the reasons of things. One is the like there is people are just pushing things without even the testing is also happening, but then environments are different. Environment has different VT environment is completely little bit different configurations. Then there are manual changes which have been done, and then in
Mhm.
production something is missed, and like there are like 4 or 5 teams working and their feature has been gone. They kind of some password, some credentials and some configuration they have done here, they forgot in a month time and then they have not noted down and they send it to production. That kind
Mhm.
of chaos happens. And I think what
Mhm.
so we thought that something which can be recorded properly, can be
Mhm.
version control, and can be kind of systematically brought into a setup where everything is recorded and in a proper manner. So we kind of made a system of like first the branching strategy, like unit. Many of the company have deploying to dev environment from different branch, deploying to UAT with different branch, and deploying to prod with different branch, right? And
Mhm.
with DevOps, we kind of, and what I also say, you need only lesser the branch, lesser the thing. One branch you have deployed to UAT, the same
Mhm.
code should go to prod because that is the code you have tested. If you do a
Mhm.
merge to another branch, you are kind of making another code which is not tested in going to production.
Mhm.
So kind of one flow kind of system that is brought. So when we move to one flow system, you have master branch, which is a source of truth. From source of truth, you kind of you have that thing tested in environment, and that only goes to high environment because that is a tested code and verified code goes to there. So that way we kind of go to one flow system. How and a feature branches or some sprint branches created will be lesser as soon as it can close, like a minimum in 1 day or 2 day, 3 days. So just get closed, but you have only one permanent branch. If there are multiple maximum team, you can have two branches, but the recommendation is always one branch, which is there. So that is one. Like things you have to do to improve, because most of the thing comes back to the branching and merge conflicts, many things which get mixed. There
Mhm.
are configuration management. That's the very big issue. Configuration management, if you can do through a source control or through a source control system, either using through a repo as well, or through a
Mhm.
key vault or Husky or vault. And then when you do it in lower environment, the higher environments will just copy that and bring it on instead of
Mhm.
doing things again and again. Just the value can be put manually because that can change or through different way, but you have to move it as a part of pipeline as well. And with the infrastructure, like in DevOps, we say the same predictable infrastructure. So from dev, maybe the frameworks will be same. Maybe your CPU and VMs can be lower in the lower environment, but in production is higher. But the framework of infrastructure setups will be same from lower to higher environment without any.
Mhm.
Many companies you may I have seen that they are using like EC2 for lower and then Kubernetes for higher. That kind of thing now. If you're using for production, that will be tested in lower with Kubernetes. So
Mhm.
that changes you have to do. Then you have to bring monitoring into picture. Like you cannot know fixed thing without knowing things. So if
Mhm.
monitoring is there, what is taking more memory, what is taking, where the problem has been, where is the bottleneck. So that
Mhm.
needs to be assessed, should be to the developer as well. Like people have been get that ops people have that access. Developer having access will bring it more value because they kind of see what they have written, what the monitoring is saying about their code, what
Mhm.
the system logs are there. And based
Mhm.
on that, they kind of do a proactive fixes. So once
Mhm.
they kind of proactively fix it, and that's the ownership which I said DevOps. So
Mhm.
the things are there. You have set up this is things you should follow this, you should follow this, then this will be monitoring should say properly. They have done load test in low environment and then send it to production. So they know that if there is a load as well, how their
Mhm.
system has performed
Mhm.
proactively in the low environment. So
Mhm.
that kind of thing. And then you set up the pipelines for all automating this. So humans will do core work like
Mhm.
developing code and everything, and systems will do the repetitive work. If there is a repetitive work, you should kind of give it to the system to make it. And then if
Mhm.
core work and where you need a brain to do, and there is a like you cannot be repetitive, that's where you
Mhm.
the humans will do the work. So that's where we increase our productivity. We remove any manual uh, kind
Work.
of work in between, so
Mhm.
that if system is written and that is recorded, it has worked in some environment, you just click a button to move it to higher environment and then do not have to rework on things, because if it is tested,
Mhm.
okay, it will go. And if the similar infrastructure is, it will work it the way. So yeah, so I was telling about 3 days of issue. So I
Mhm.
think so it started with like there was a configuration missing
Mhm.
and nobody knows that configuration was missing and people were hack and neck looking into place. And that configuration also, many places we put configuration on multiple places. So
Mhm.
either configuration is also in the config file of the code, it is also in key vault, it also is in database, and it
Mhm.
is also in some environment variable. So
Mhm.
you have to create a common, I think either one place of config or maximum two. That's the place you have to put the configurations in place. Like we find out that configuration is at completely different area, but that person doesn't know about it. That is also place where we have stored kind of thing. Like you found out later, okay, this was also an issue which we didn't know about. So and so it should be one or two places only, and it should be server source controlled. So and secured, right? So you know where it is going. So that kind of stuff, yeah. So it happens.
Yeah, that is I think so the proactive monitoring is I think very critical and it's very important nowadays like because without that earlier people used to think about it like the observability only works in a live environment, right? But now, like people are looking into each and every, like even if people today, I think I had, I was talking to a few customers and they are just building the MVP and
Mhm.
they started observability along with that. So like if something is, let's say they are created something on it, it's not something that, okay, yeah, whether this particular metrics working or not. If something is taking more time, if a specific application is taking more memories or like any kind of services, right? So it's very important nowadays. Like you have to the observability should be from the day one, and it should definitely it would be a different one. Like for like before developers, like should be a Dora metrics where you look into all other things, and after that you can be in different metrics where you look at logs, look at uptime, look at maybe latency issues, look at some different aspect, and that's in different phases. That would be a different metrics that need to be carried out. But yes, it should be a part of whole life. So you mentioned about proactive monitoring, right? So like troubleshooting is one of the biggest and most of time what I believe is that almost like 60-70% time developer put their time into a troubleshooting, right? And finding the root cause, which is very, very difficult, right? So what do you think, like how AI is helping, and do you implement any AI practices which can reduce troubleshooting time and or maybe RCA time, which is something very important nowadays. Like you see like a lot of RCA agent coming up and the root
Yeah.
cause analysis, right?
Yeah.
And every day like, you see like there is one new RC agent come in. But the problem is like the what RC agent is doing is something that they're showing up the error or showing up the things, or this would be the root cause. But very few people or few players in the market who are actually working on the fixing those issues, right? So what's your take on that? Do you have any practices in the place where you helping or maybe helping your team to troubleshoot the issues at large scale, or maybe using different AI tools, and then also helping them to troubleshoot that and fix those issues as well. So, do you have any kind of practices, or how you handle that at the moment?
Yeah. So I think AI has been like from last AI has been booming now, and I think it is kind of getting into all fields, and software development is very important field where the AI is making an impact. And
Hmm.
every company today have to adapt to AI, and that's the thing because you cannot survive if your competitors are using AI and they
It
are
should be like the AI word should be there everywhere. Like,
there is a
if
hype
you are
as well.
not part of a strategy, then it's like you are not doing anything.
Too much expectation of AI, and there are also hype as well, and there is a reality checks we also. So yeah, we do have we are building in-house product actually for the AI things,
Mhm.
and we are trying to integrate this in our system. So
Okay.
we have a kind of a BCS AI assist kind of tool. So what we do is kind of we have brought into all factors of software development. I've come to the troubleshooting part as well. What we do from right from the developer Visual Studio or Visual Studio code, we have put the AI to kind of the developer in our company kind of look into. They kind of check the code with for the security issues. Like they can do code analysis. They can find out the kind of select the whole code and do refactoring and uh, provide unit testing, automatic generation, and everything. So get help from AI directly, and they kind of analyze their code for secure all the vulnerabilities or issues or any code issues direct system before checking the code into the branch. So
Mhm.
after the branch checking, we also have a made a PR reviewer tool, which kind of review people PR, where they kind of before a manual review, like PR review, whenever PR is made, a PR review is done. AI already reviews the people's code and give the instant feedback, and so that developer can kind of fix if they see any issue provided by PR or AI PR, that this is the thing which is not implemented and needs to be implemented. So the developer get feedback, and that's what proactive monitoring, which we were saying that as fast as we get provide the feedback to the developer, the faster we can do software delivery, and that faster we can kind of adapt to the market requirement as well. Later we find out, like as you told, like earlier the monitoring was in production, so we get feedback after release, like maybe a month release is there. After a month you have worked on, you get the feedback, and then you make that okay, this is the bug, so we will do it in next sprint. You take 2 sprint to fix that bug, but if it is uh, found out in lower environment, in dev environment, you fix in 2 days, and it goes in
Mhm.
sprint. So that's the reason it comes. So this is a code level PR review, which I kind of we do. Then coming to AI, the monitoring part of AI, I think now with various tools, they have got AI enabled monitoring as well system. So we kind
Correct.
of, when it is deployed to some environment, we have kind of a monitoring system which analyzes the logs, get the CPU and memory data, and they get the latency and everything, how the API is behaving, is API is giving the error or not. As of now, like we are using this, and what AI is helping us to kind of, there are noise, lot of noise from monitoring logs. So what AI is does that it kind of read the logs and kind of brings the developer with what is the usable data they should focus on. Based on that data, we give it to a prompt to our system, and that kind of give us that what can recommended solution they suggest can fix this issue, where to
Correct.
look into that. That kind
Hmm.
of system, I think we have built where the log can go and we get the feedback and developer can see that, okay, I need to do this to fix it, which uh, the developer gets the feedback and they do it. And with AI, I think today we have reached that stage. And I think most of companies of observability also has been providing that kind of setup now. I think
Hmm.
slowly in the future. And I think in Kubernetes, there are some examples I have seen in internet as well, and I have tried. There are repetitive issues which can you can create a agentic pod which kind of act on your behalf and try to fix it automatically based on the log it has received. So you create a
Correct.
agent, read the logs, and from the that agent takes a load, understand what needs to be done. You can give feedback, give them the instruction based on previous knowledge and previous outages examples what need to be done, and they can execute that slowly. So that becomes a self-healing system in place. So
Hmm.
slowly, I think that will be a common, not today, that is
Hmm.
starting. So maybe in 2, 3 years, that will be a common scenario, which I think the platform will also give an agentic AI coming into more mature system, that kind of thing. And that will help you also help in troubleshooting the things faster and also fixing the thing faster. Yeah.
Great. I think that's a good approach, and I think that's where people heading up now.
Yeah.
So, being a DevOps lead, what's your top priorities?
Yeah, so my priority is always kind of keep improving. So like as a DevOps, it's a continuous improvement journey. So we kind of what we do is that the DevOps is a maturity model, if you know. There's a maturity model like you are at initial stage, you have a at a managed state, you are in defined, measurable, and then optimized state. So we
Correct.
always what we do is that we kind of in our we do a half yearly review and do a maturity assessment of our project and see where we are, what are the practices we have done and what practices we have not achieved, and what can be done. We create a future roadmap to that feedback. Now, to do that, so the maturity is a matrix where you tell like if there's a one click deployment is there, you have a cross functional team, you have zero downtime, downtime in production for last a year or no. If there is
Hmm.
no, so how many bugs comes into production after you have deployed, and how many times the outages have happened, and how fast you have resolved outages. So basically, there are four metrics actually which Google sponsored. Dora is a organization which created a framework for a DevOps team or DevOps productivity and how to measure the DevOps. So it is
Hmm.
one is deployment frequency. Have you decrease your deployment frequency to more deployment per month, per weeks, or per year? So
Correct.
actually, initially, even we were doing 12 deployments in a year, 1 month. Now we kind of do like 4 deployment per week, per month. So at least 48 deployment per year. If you know Netflix and other thing, they do 100 deployments per day. So kind of setup. So how can you decrease your deployment from as fast as possible to as minimum as possible? Like if the thing is ready, how fast you can roll out. So deployment frequency is a measure. Lead time. Lead time is from the day the requirement is uh, started checked in. From that checked in to final production release, how much time it
Hmm.
takes and how can you speed up? You can speed up with automation testing. You can speed up with more security testing,
Hmm.
removing the bureaucratic layer in between, and like with lesser bugs. So that how can you, with all automation testing and everything, how can you decrease the lead time, right? Then there is a change failure rate. How many
Hmm.
times you have released to production and then there is a failure because of that release. So
Correct.
it how it should be close to zero. So means if you are released, you should be. And when I told at that time that you should have good sleep, means you should have zero change failure rate. So as
Hmm.
fast as you get a change failure rate, means you already have tested that in UAT environment that this will release and this is how it will work. You have monitoring data, you have all the things which is working. Your observability platform say yes, your all things say it's good, automation testing says good, so production
Hmm.
will be always good. So that kind of give. So
Got
I
it.
took, yeah. So this kind of matrices are there, and to kind of, and then there is this how fast you kind of, if there's an incident occur, how fast you can recover your environment, and that brings your test of self-healing environment, or and robustness of your platform, of how fast you can detect the bugs, or monitoring logs, and how fast you can apply the changes.
Got
That
it. Got it.
keep your speed,
These
I
are,
think.
I think, very, very important metrics. Everyone has to implement it because, this is like what I say is important and must have metrics where people has to, but if they are not doing that means something is missing, and then
Yeah.
your sometime your code might block, and then maybe your maybe live application is not working, or maybe something is not well at all. Great. So what is your piece of advice for today's newbie, or maybe aspiring software engineers who wanted to be developers in this AI era? Because like the typical things will not work. If you are just doing the coding, you just have basic skills, it will not work. So let be very limited. We have already having late time, but yeah, let's give your views, like how you can do it. And what's your
Yeah.
piece of advice for that?
So the Fox starting up, I think now when we started up, it was very lesser technology. We know that, okay, we will do this. I think we will have bread butter in our table for 10 years. Now,
Hmm.
if they learn something, it's 1 year or 6 months, they will have bread butter because the technology is changing very fast. So I think
Correct.
next, if you're starting up next 5 years, like you have build yourself, like learn everything which is coming on table, know the full, do not limit to a single technology, then you go kind of full stack, learn everything from like development, that table, database, and AI and ML, and then and DevOps and cloud. So go across everything. You cannot be like jack of all trades, but at least be a expert in one or two, and then know about everything. So you can kind of easily know across the table what's going on, and you can adapt end-to-end understanding of things. And AI is playing role, but you do not use AI to write your code, because when your foundation is weak, because if you are taking help to start building a career, you are kind of giving your that your IQ and your knowledge comes from your calculations, your mind, working of your mind. If your
Hmm.
mind is, you have already used, gave AI to do your work, kind of your mind will not develop with the complex scenario in
Got
outside.
it.
So
Yes,
initial
yes,
year
yes.
you should do AI for small works, but I think at least do everything yourself, like write code yourself. Take AI if you are like not able to solve something for 1 or 2 day, then take AI help. But at least use kind of do yourself everything, at least for basic years. Else it will be, we will be going into a age where people will always take AI help, but when a complex scenario comes, they will kind of, if AI kind of AI hallucinate, they are not always right. And
Correct.
today, because we are who came from the era where there was no AI, so we can help. We know if AI is saying that this is wrong, we can do it that way. That mindset, I think people have to start. Shortcut, AI can give you shortcuts and do things faster, but like if I say in DevOps Kubernetes, hard way, if you have done, like you have to do everything from scratch, and then it is it is a provided, it is that gives you more experience than like getting everything on table. So I
Completely got it. Completely got it. And last, okay, fine. So if you are not engineer, what you would be?
if I am not engineer, I will be a businessman, I guess. I am Agrawal, from a business family, so that's my
Uh,
default. And I think that rest
that's
of the
a
family, even I thought think about startups today and how do some business, maybe related to technology or something, but that's something, yeah. So if there was no,
what do you do? What do you do when you are not at work?
actually, when I not at work, kind travel. I kind of travel a lot. So I kind of go to places. to mountains or some countries. So I like traveling. Yeah.
Okay, you like traveling. Great, great. And who inspire you the most in your professional career? Maybe a person, maybe a company. Mhm.
See, there are many, but I have got good managers across my like 12 years of careers. Like all the managers I have worked has been very good and have been very technical, very profound and sound. So I have always learned from them. So I will say that from my career, like there can be another inspiration as well. But when I say about companies, like uh, many times you get your boss is not good. Like yeah, many people complain about it. So I get good bosses and then good mentors, which has helped me to build my career and where I was. And then, yeah, and then if you say, if you look into public figures and everything, there are many examples. I think there is learning from everybody. I do not give specific to someone. I
No
up,
worries. That's
look
okay. That's okay.
many, yeah.
Got it, got it, got it. And if you wanted to have a dinner with any tech CEO, who would be that? The
Very,
famous tech CEO, not like the small one.
yeah, yeah. I will say OpenAI CEO Sam as of today.
Sam Altman.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
yeah.
And great, great. That's I think okay. And what is the best way to connect with you if somebody wanted to connect?
Yeah, they can connect me over LinkedIn, and I am active on LinkedIn, so I can kind of reply to them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Cool, cool. That's been, I think, the end of episode. So, thanks, Ashish, for your time, and
Thank
really
you.
nice talking to you.
Yeah. Thanks, Sam. Thanks. Nice talking to you as well.
Thank you.